This conference will
Thank
now be
you.
recorded.
So see here. Today we are going to discuss on form extensions and class extensions. Okay. So again, you might get confused. Oh, he is saying form extensions, class extensions at the same time. See here, table extensions, form extensions, class extensions, everything is same. There is no difference between any of these three. Okay. Okay, but as there again, you should not say that, oh, class extensions is different and form extensions is different. So I want to show you how to work with these extensions here. It's very simple. Already we have seen table extensions. We have seen how to work with the chain of command. Okay, we have seen how to work with the event handlers. The same thing you can do in form as well. The same thing you can do in form as well. There is no difference. Okay, the same thing you can do in class as well. Okay, now let's see that how to do that. So see here, I am building the solution. In the meantime, I want to discuss few things with you. Okay, I want to discuss few things with you. See here, coming to the Dynamics AX, it's an ERP. Any ERP is going to have few set of processes. There are a lot of modules. From that modules, if you ask me, are we going to use all the modules? Then I will simply say no. Okay, 90% of the cases in your life, okay, you're going to work only with very few things. Let's see what are those. Okay, let me open the notepad. So what are those things? From that, I will say first one is accounts receivable. Second one is accounts payable. Third one is inventory. Fourth one is general ledger. And you might get a doubt now. Oh, general ledger means are we going to do any customizations in financial management? You will never do customizations in finance. Okay, unless and until you are working on a rare case scenario, you will never do customizations to finance, because finance is a very complex module. Okay, finance is a very complex module. Just if there is any small modifications on the screens, or let's say there are some in the financial tab, they want to display one more field, or like that, if you have small customizations, those you will take care. Whereas adding one more entry, okay, already there are 32 or some entries, which will be more than enough. Okay, dimension entries, we will call them as dimension entries. There are more than 32 or something dimension entries, that will be more than enough. Okay, in very rare case, the customer will ask, I want 40 dimension entries. Okay, because dimensions generally you will use maximum of 3 to 4 years. Okay, you know what is the dimension here? Whenever you are performing, whenever you see a ledger book, on that ledger book you will find different set of accounts. Okay, you will find different set of accounts. For example, it will be like service account. Okay, whenever you are purchasing a tea, it will go into service account. In this service as well, they will split into separate again, food and beverages, and in this food and beverages, it will go into this account. So here there are two segments, one is service and the second one is food and beverages. So like this, when you're splitting it into multiple segments, by default in Dynamics AX they allow around 32 segments. Okay, I saw only one scenario where they have used 10 or 12 segments in retail. In none of the cases they have used more than 3 or 4. Okay, so this is how they will split. And already the finance management is very strong in Dynamics 365 or Dynamics AX. So there will be very less number of customizations. Okay, and coming to the customizations, 90% of the cases you will do customizations in accounts receivable and accounts payable. And there is one more module called HR and payroll. Okay, HR and payroll. So HR and payroll, I saw very less number of cases here. Okay, I saw only very less number of cases where people are using HR and payroll from Dynamics AX. Okay, and there as well they will ask some customizations. Okay, this is one more module. And again, project management, no one will ask you customizations. And 90% of the times you will stick to these three modules: accounts receivable, accounts payable, inventory. Okay, and now coming to the accounts receivable, the core process of the accounts receivable is customers, sales orders. Okay, I will say only these two because accounts receivable is used to maintain the details of the customers and then the sales orders. If anything else is there, all are related to the same thing. Okay, so if you want to create a customer on the front end, if you want to create a customer on the front end, how to do that? It's very simple, yeah. It's very simple. If you log on to the front end, because most of the times what people will say me, oh, learning ERP again, functional, I need to learn differently. But I used to say only one thing. If you know Microsoft Word, if you can learn Microsoft Word, if you can learn PowerPoint by yourself, you can learn the functional thing by yourself. Okay. If you're stuck somewhere, you can check some videos on the Google. That will be enough. Okay. You need to know the process. Knowing the process is important because customer creation, directly you can select new and then it will ask you for the address details, customer details, phone number, contact number, all those, and you can create sales order details. Sales order will go in a process. That process already I explained you at the beginning. When we are discussing the state machine, I showed you one diagram. I don't know whether you remember it or not. It will go in a process. So what is the process? First of all, what is the first step? Create a sales order. What is the second step? Confirm the sales order. What is the third step? After confirming, what do you need to do?
Journal. Post the journal. Is
Not
it
posting, it's a packing slip.
okay?
Okay, it will be packing slip and dynamic CX. Okay, it will be packing slip and you sometimes functionally if the people, okay, I say packing slip, but functionally the people will say posting a packing slip. Okay, both are same, there is no difference. Okay, both are same. And then it will go to invoice. Yeah, so once invoice is done, you will ship the order. Is that right? This is the process. Okay, now I will compare this with the Amazon or Flipkart. So what people will do, you will add your items to the cart, means you are creating your order got created. Okay, and then if you want to purchase the items in the in the Amazon, what they will do, you will go to the cart and you will click on proceed to buy. That is what is called confirmation. Now confirmation is done. Now it will generate a bill of receipt, which is nothing but the bill of materials and the receipt you will get, packing slip. Once you pay the money, invoice. The same process. And if you say about the accounts payable, see here, the only difference between accounts receivable and accounts payable is here we will have vendors. Accounts receivable, company is receiving the accounts, company is receiving the payment. They are selling something to the customer and customer is paying them. Accounts payable, the customer is paying the amount. That means the company is paying the amount to the vendors. Okay, for example, we have Amazon. If Amazon wants to sell some product, what it should do, it should buy that product and then it can sell. Okay, and again, don't say that they have a lot of people who are selling the products and they are selling it directly. I am speaking about the products of Amazon. Amazon has its own brand. If they want to sell product, they need to buy and then they need to sell. Okay, so like that, we will have the vendors. To track the information about the accounts payable, we will use these vendors. And then whenever they make some purchases, they will create purchase orders. They will create purchase orders. And in this purchase orders, it will also go in a process here. Create a purchase order. After creating the purchase order, what we need to do? Confirm the purchase order. And then there we call it as a packing slip. Here we will call it as a product receipt. Okay, here we will call it as a product receipt, and then you will post the product receipt. Done. You will post the product receipt. Now the same thing you can see in the front end. Okay, now if I go to the modules, you can see accounts receivable. Now see here, customers, all customers, customers on hold, customer past due, customer merge, orders, sales orders, shipped, fulfilled orders. This is what I said. If you see the entire module, this entire module is dedicated only to these customers and sales orders. The entire module, payments, what are the payments you have received, which are after invoiced. You can see the payment journals. All these things you can do. Okay, but To make it work, you need to do the preliminary configuration. Okay, that configuration will be done by functional. Whatever we need to do is we need to set up the ledger, we need to set up the fiscal calendar, we need to create a legal entity, we need to do all those things. Okay. Oh, it says there is some error. What is there? Invalid column name minimum threshold. Oh, we have created that, but it is not synced here. Okay, no worries. Go to view, application explorer, and then let me take the model view, Amazon, data model, table extensions. We have created the table extensions now. After moving this, we have not synced. Let me add it to the project. You can see here. They got added. Yeah, they got added to the project. Now let me sync, set sync to true and sync it. Okay. Synchronize database on build. Let me set it to true. Apply. Okay. And then let me do a rebuild once. After that, it will open the file. Don't worry. Okay. So this is how the functional process will work. Okay. Because most of the times, okay, in most of the classes when I was discussing, okay, when it comes to the functional partner, people used to confuse. Oh, what is all this? It's very simple. Don't think that it's difficult. Functionally, the trade and logistics and supply chain is very simple, HR and payroll. Only the financial module is difficult. Oh, people will, if you say why it is difficult, I will say only one thing. We don't know finance here. Okay. I am a technical guy. I learned computers. Okay. So I don't know what is credit and debit until and unless I learned this ERP and I worked on finance. Okay. Frankly speaking, until and unless I worked on this ERP, now I don't know what is credit and debit and where to place what. Okay. The same thing will happen with everyone. Because if you're from BTech or MTech background, or let's say you're from MCA, then obviously finance, again, it would be some difficult with you. Okay, once you start working on the finance now, you'll find it very easy. Because in finance, you will have only two important things. One is credit and the second one is debit. Okay, one is credit and the second one is debit. Okay, and when you are working with the orders, you will have invoiced order, you will have credit note, you will have debit note. Okay, invoiced order, credit note, debit note. Only these are the few things that you will see in finance, and most of the times people will confuse across this only. Okay, let it be that you can learn when you're working with the ledger. You will know that that's not a big deal. Okay, so now let it rebuild. I'll show you the customers and the sales order. So see here. Now coming to the customizations, already we have done the customizations on two tables. Okay, I have done on cost parameters, and then I have done on cost table. Okay, I showed you two places only for one reason, so that you will learn it easily. Okay, and which is why I took a lot of time only for discussing these two at that time. Okay, and now the same customizations we are going to do on the forms. Now I have the cost parameters table. In cost parameters, I have added two fields. I need to get the two fields on the form now. In the cost table, I have created two fields. I need to get them on the form now. How to get them? How to get them? And again, if you want to work with the extensions, okay, in case of tables, if you want to write some methods, what you have done? We have created a new class and then we wrote methods over there. Is that right? We wrote methods on the class for a table. Similarly for the form as well. If you want to write some new method, where exactly we write it? We will create a class and then we will write methods over there. When you are working with the methods, I told you we will have form methods, we will have form data source methods, we will have form control methods. Form methods, you can use extension chain of command. You can use extensions, you can use chain of command, you can use event handlers. Form data source methods, you can use the same thing. Form control methods, you can do the same thing. But whenever you are writing the piece of code, you need to say which does it belong to. Okay, whether it's a form method, whether it is a form data source method, whether it is a form control method. You need to say that. You need to say that. Okay. And that part we will see once this is finished. I will show you. And similarly, whenever you are working with the sales order or the purchase order, I told you there is a process. Create a sales order, confirm, create a packing slip, invoice the sales order. Okay. Similarly for purchase order, create a purchase order, confirm, and then product receipt, generate a product receipt, and then invoice. I told you this is the process. Is that right? Now, if you want to work with this process, we have a framework. If it is a sales order, we have a framework called sales form letter. We have a framework called sales form letter. Similarly, for purchase order, we have a framework called purchase form letter. Purchase form letter. If it is a ledger, we have a framework called journal. We will call it as ledger journal. Okay. Now, if you are doing the confirmation, sales form letter underscore confirmation, packing slip, sales form letter underscore packing slip, invoice, sales form letter underscore invoice. This is how the classes are involved. Similarly, purchase order, purchase form letter underscore confirm, purchase form letter underscore product received, purchase form letter underscore invoice. This is how the classes are. So whatever the step you're doing, the same name is given. And again, if you are posting the information to the ledger journal check post, ledger journal post. Okay, this is how you'll find them. Okay, because this is where everyone will have the confusion all the time. Now let me show you in the application suite. Let me go to application suite, and then let me go to code classes. Let us see whether they are available or not. Okay, let's see. Sales form letter. Can you see this? Sales form letter underscore confirm, sales form letter underscore invoice, sales form letter underscore packing slip, picking list. You have all these things. Okay. Oh, in between there is one more step, picking list. Okay. Picking list, packing slip. And similarly, purchase form letter. Okay. Purchase form letter underscore invoice, purchase form letter underscore confirmation, purchase form letter underscore receipt list. Can you see this? This is how they will be. The classes will begin with purchase form letter for purchase orders. The classes will begin with sales form letter for sales orders, because all these are divided from a framework called form letter. Okay, we have a form letter, and everything, whatever the sales orders and purchase orders, they are derived from this framework. Okay, it will extend this framework. Let's say if I go to sales form letter, and then if I view the code, you can see it. Okay, you can see that here. This is how it works. Okay, sales form letter abstract class extends form letter service controller. Form letter service controller. Now, if you go and see in the form letter service controller, it should be extending sys operation form letter, because you should be able to run this in a batch as well. So let's see, view code. You know, this is how you need to learn. Sys operation service controller. If you ask me, have you ever seen this? I never saw that. It's just, if you know about the process now, you can simply guess it. It's very simple. Similarly, I told you about ledger journal. Can you see this? This is all contains the journal. Ledger journal check for validation, ledger journal check post, and then ledger journal engine. So all these ledger journal classes are used to for financial management. Ledger journal post for posting the ledger. Okay, this is how the classes are involved. Okay, this is how the classes are involved. Now, what we will do? We will take the same. We have done the customizations on cust table and cust parameters now. We will take these two, and then we will add them to the form, and then we will see how to add the form methods, how to extend the form methods, how to extend the form data source methods, how to extend the class. We will take the same sales form letter here. In the same sales form letter, we will write, okay, when you are doing the confirmation, we will validate the information. We will validate the data. Let's do that. Okay, we will do that. We will see. Okay, let it build. It is taking some time. Let me check how many processors did I allocate to this one. Settings. Okay, I have allocated 7, so it should be faster. Good. Let's wait for a minute. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, please let me know.
For inventory, what all classes are involved?
For inventory, 1 second. For posting, there should be invent journal. That's what I'm checking. 1 second. Because for inventory, it works in a different fashion. You will have again inventory dimensions here. Okay, you will have a storage dimensions and tracking dimensions. They're all things we need to set up functionally. And if you ask me about the inventory, again, you will have the huge number of classes, but there will be a lot of customizations. Okay, most of the times, I can say around 60% of the times we will customize inventory, and 90% of the times we will customize sales orders, and 70 to 80% of the times we will customize sales purchase orders. Okay, and coming to the inventory as well, we will have the dimensions, tracking dimensions, storage dimensions, and you will have the warehouse management as well here. For that, I does not remember, but let me check. There should be invent journal. Exactly. When you are trying to post some value, some items in the inventory, these are the classes which are involved. Invent general check post, invent general post. And remember, inventory is again has one drawback. Okay, that is about the performance. So to avoid that performance in AX 2012, you got 3 versions: R1, R2, and R3. Okay, because up to AX 2009, there was only one table called invent sum, and everything is added to it. Whereas coming from AX, D3 AX 2012, in R1 they have done some customizations and they have split the inventory on the basis of orders. For sales order, you will have invent sales, and for purchase, you will have the invent purchase. They have divided it. They have split it up into multiple tables, only for one reason: performance. And even then, there are some performance issues in inventory, which we need to bear. Okay, there is no other choice. But don't worry, that issues you will find only when you have huge amount of data. Okay, for large scale enterprises you will face issues, whereas for small scale enterprises and medium scale enterprises you will not face any issues. Okay, I thought it should be okay. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we add some step in purchase process?
You can.
For example, shipment tracking or something like if you want
You
to
can add.
add.
You can do that.
Okay.
I will show you how to work with the extensions. You can customize whatever you want. Okay. You can add the additional step, or if you want to set up the purchase approval. Okay. Yesterday you have asked me, na? Let me show you. You have something called purchase approval, journal create, and the purchase workflow approval. 1 second. I don't remember that thing. What is
So like this, can we add some extra table? For example, for shipment tracking or something,
You
can
can.
we add some table and use the same form to record some actions there?
You can do that. You can do that. I will show you now. 1 second. Okay. You can do that. Because you can add whatever the data source you want, you can add. That's what I want to discuss now. Okay. Now see here. We have the cust table and then the cust parameters. Coming to the forms, okay. Let me go to customer table. Okay, this is the customer table which contains the details of a customers. Okay, and where it will rely. You can see in the accounts receivable all customers. And how would I know whether this is the form or not? That's very simple. I showed you that. Right click and simply personalize. If you personalize, you will get the information and you will see that's a customer table. Now to create the extension of the form, right click on the form and click on create extension. Right click on the form and create extension, and it will simply create an extension for us. Okay, now right click on the open button. It will open the extension. Now let's see what can we customize and what we cannot customize. Let me show you. Okay, just a second here, it's taking some time to load. Okay, in the meantime, let me do one thing. Because I have created one user to download the code. 1 second. I don't remember the password of it. I'll ping you right away. Okay, good. It got opened. The custtable.amazon. Now, this is my form extension. Now let me go to data sources. As I do remember, in custtable we have added 2 fields. Let me check whether those fields are available or not. Fields. Let me check. That is min threshold and max threshold. No? We have it. Min threshold, max threshold. In the form extension, in the table extension, we have created the 2 fields. They are available in the form. And similarly, now what can we do on the form extension and what we can't do? I have the methods here. Right click. You can't create a new method directly in the form extension. I have events here. You can subscribe to the events on initialized init method. Init super before on initializing. After the super on initialized. Okay. And then data sources. Okay, let me check if I can add any methods. No, not possible to override or write the methods of the form data source. Events, you will have lot of events. Initialized, init value, deleted, deleting. Okay, validate write, validate delete, validate write, validate delete. Writing, written. All these methods are similar to that of a table. If you remember the table events, the same thing we saw there. Okay, now if you want to use the event, simply create a new class, copy and paste the event, it will work. Okay, so how to work with the events? Form events. Okay, first of all we will see form events and then I will go to the next step. Okay, and next, if you want to add a new data source, you can add. Okay, let's say I want to add this employee expense, or 1 second, let me check the tables. AMA address, you can simply drag and drop. Oh, it's not allowing, but let me create a new data source. It's allowing. Okay, it does not allow drag and drop, don't know why. And you can see a table here and you can add AMA address and you can start working with this here. You can start working with this in the design. You can add. Now you can see this is the details from master, details master pattern. Go to the tab, details tab, header group, tab header, and here you have this many things. Right click and let's see whether we can add the form controls or not. I want to check that. Okay, just a second, it's loading.
Can we add database triggers to the tables?
See here, database triggers are the concept of SQL. If you want to
Yes.
add them in the SQL, now in production you will not have access to SQL, so you can't add. If you have the on-premises environment, if you have access to the SQL DB, then you can add it. Okay. Otherwise,
It
you
will
can't do that.
it will not affect the performance or anything
It
in
will
the.
affect here. It will affect. Whenever you are doing something in Dynamics AX, you should stick to Dynamics AX. Okay. You should not do anything in the SQL. Because if you see, there are few system fields: data area ID, record ID. All these are the system fields. How will you manage them? Okay.
And on a form, if I want to control by the user, like if I want to allow some user to edit the values or
That's
it
what I
should
told. Role-based
just
security. You can use the security and then you can define the form control permissions. You can do that.
It's only about the security.
Yeah. And if you want to disable it for all the users, then you need to go for configuration keys. These are the two ways with which we do that. Okay.
Okay.
Now, see here, if you want to create a new group, you can create a new group control and then you can get the data from this address. Okay. Remember, you can add any number of the data sources to the existing form. Okay. Now let's say, just now, Mohammed, I think you have asked about the purchase order. So what you can do is you can create a new table for your shipment and you can add the table for the shipment, and then you can add the join. You can see join source, and then based on the relation, you can add the data wherever you need. You can do that. So how to add the data? If you want to add the data, currently I am removing this data source. If you want to add the data, already I have added it to the standard table. So I have min threshold and max threshold. These are the two fields. Now you can see there are tab pages, tab page general. Okay. In this I have upper group, and then you can see this. Okay. In the general, if you see down, this is the customer page, and below that addresses, below that contact information, miscellaneous details. All these are there. So if I want to add it here, what I need to do? I want these two fields. Let's say max threshold and min threshold. I want to drag and drop this to this upper group. I got to those two fields. Now simply if you save this, then what will happen? You will get these two fields here. Okay, 1 second, it is getting refreshed. Let's see. This is the min threshold, this is the max threshold. Now let me set the properties, the label. Okay, let me go to the label and let me call it as max threshold. Okay, and this is the min threshold. Let me call it as min threshold. Done. Save. Okay, done. Now you can see this is the preview. This is the preview. This is how you will get the values. And then now I have added these two values, it's well and good. But what about the methods? Let's say if I go to this one, I have the methods. Oh, it's not possible here. Even if you're adding your own fields and if you try to add the methods, it will not allow in the form. If you want to add a method in the form extension, there is only one way. Whatever you need to do is you need to create a class. Okay. First of all, let me disable sync. Otherwise, it will irritate like anything. Okay. Now let me create a new class, new item, and then let me go to the code, create a class, and these are called cast table events. Okay, cast table events. I will say AMA cast table events. Click on the add button. Now see here, if you are creating the events, there is no need of creating an extension. You can simply create a class because events are, they will have the event handler, so it will automatically pick. For example, if you want to write the form event, I am taking on initialized, copy event handler method, paste. You got it. You have the form run, X form run, sender, X form run. You have the form run here. So if you have the form run, you have everything of the form. Why? If I view the code, let me show you the code of this one. Just a second. Okay. Okay, let's take example of employee expense. View code. What is that? Extends form run. Okay. You might ask me, oh, what about standard then? Let me go to custtable.amazon. Okay, one second. Custtable, view code. Let it load. It is extending form run, yeah. It is extending form run. So each and every form extends the form run. So from this form run, you can get whatever you want. You can get whatever you want from this form run. Oh, sorry, one second. Now, if I take this sender dot, you can see there are a lot of methods. Okay, sender dot form dot, you can see again, there will be a lot of methods for each of them. Data source. This is the form data source. If you want to get the form data source, this is what you need to use. Okay, from the sender, if you want to use from the form, you want to get the data source on the event, this is what you need to use. Here for data source, you will have two methods. One is data source. Here you need to provide the name, and there should be data source number or something. I don't remember that. One second. Data source count. It will return the data source count. Okay, data source. They have given only one with name. Okay, and then dot. You can see again. Hello check, hello create, hello delete. Data source properties you can modify at runtime. Yeah, all the insert if and insert if empty. Can you say this? If you want to modify the form data source properties to the event, then we are going to use this. But frankly speaking, avoid using events and event handlers. Okay, if chain of command is not possible, then only go with events or event handlers. Okay, if chain of command is not possible, then only go with events or event handlers. Okay, and now let me go here. Let me check what are the methods written. And I have the init method. If I right click, copy event handler, pre event handler, post event handler. Is it similar to that of a table or not? This is what I said. This is what I said. It's similar to that of a table. In case of table, we wrote the event handler. Okay, now you have the arguments here. Arguments dot. Okay, here if I say get this, what it will return? It will return form. If I use args.getReads, it will return form run object. And from form run, whatever we have done here, you can do the same thing. Even if you are using the events or even if you are using the event handlers, there is no difference at all. Okay, even if you are using the events or even if you are using the event handlers, there is no difference at all. Okay, but where is the difference? The difference comes with the chain of command. Okay, the difference comes with the chain of command. Now again you might ask me, what is the difference? Okay, now let's see. See here, this is about events and event handlers. Now I want to concentrate more on the chain of command. Let's say I want to initialize the default value when a customer is created from the form. We have seen from the table. Let's see from the form. I want to create a class. I want to call it as AMA cust table underscore extension. Okay, or if you want to make sure that this is a form, you can call it as cust table form underscore extension. Click on the add button. Now this is my form extension. This is my form extension. Okay, so what I need to write? I need to say extension of in the bracket form str in the brackets. I need to say cast table. This is my form. Save. Oh, it's throwing error. Let me make it final. Save. Okay. Now let's say I want to use chain of command. How to do that? In this, I have the init method. Oh, it's not allowing me to view the code. One second. Let me view the code from here because extension will not have the code. So it will not allow us to view the code from extension. You need to directly view the code out of the form. And here, let me go to the init method. Init, this one. Okay. Void init. Let me copy this. Save. Oh, bracket. This one. Save. Chain of command must contain one next call. So whatever you need to do is, you need to say next init. Done. Did we do the same thing in the table? Yes. If you want to initialize the form control, initialize that form control here. Okay. You will have full access here. This is chain of command, form extension. You can directly access whatever the control you want here. As we have access to the form controls, auto declaration, setting auto declaration to yes, and then we have access to them now. The same thing you can do here. Now, similarly, you will get one more question. Okay, this is fine. But let's say I have a form data source. How to work with the form data source? Okay, let's see. Right click on the add button, new item, and let me create a class. Here, I will call AMA cust table data source underscore extension. Click on the add button. Okay, this is my extension. And here what I need to do, I need to say in the brackets extension of form data source str. Okay, what is this? I am not getting. Okay, don't know. I didn't. Why did I didn't get the IntelliSense? And it should be cast table is the form, and cast table is the data source, and this will be final. There. This is how we create a extension of a form data source. Okay, now let me go to this cast table.amazon, and let me go to the form data source methods. Init is there. Okay, execute query. Okay, it's also there. Okay, I thought if you don't have the method now, you can directly use it. Even if the execute query method is not there, even then you can use it directly. That's what I want to show, but unfortunately it is there. Okay, let me go to the form data source here. Init, yeah, public void init. Copy, and then let me paste it over here. And here I will say remember the next call should be unconditional. Done. This is how we will work with the form data source extension. And here, whatever you want to initialize, you can initialize here. Okay. If you want to initialize the default values, now you can initialize those default values. Let me do one thing. Next init this dot, you can see all these are the methods. You can do whatever you want with this. Okay. If you simply use this now, you can access whatever you want.
All data source methods, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All data source methods will be available here. Specific to the cast table data source. And similarly, if you want some other data source, you can use it. This is the way of working with data source extension. Okay. And now there is one more thing called form control. Is that right? There is one more thing called form control. Is that right or wrong? Hey, please speak out here. Is that right or wrong? How to work with it? Right click. Oh, I have clicked on build. So okay, let it build. Okay, I think it's done. Click on the add button. No, it's not done. Let's wait for a minute here. By mistake, I clicked on the build button.
Can we copy this code from init method as it is and make changes in few lines?
You can do that, but actually both of them will get called, na? Now what will happen? The init method, whatever the code that is there in init method, that will also get called with this next init.
We can't avoid it.
You can't.
So first, which one it will get called?
See here, I told you already, if you have created 3 extensions, then we can't guarantee the sequence. It can call in any sequence.
Can we work with data source in form extension class like we were doing in events or event handlers?
That's what we are doing here. This is the form data source itself.
No, in form extension class itself. This is form data
In form
source.
extension, yeah, you can do that. In form extension, that's why I showed you one way. Okay, if you see here in the events, I showed you the way. Similarly, whatever you need to do is, here we have the next init, na? You need to get the form run object and you can do whatever you want. You can work with it. You can work with the form data source because this is your form.
Yeah, but how to get that in case of events we have the parameters.
No, that you need to say because already you worked on the forms, na? Already you worked on the forms. At that time, you should have seen the methods if you use this. And there is one more interesting thing here. Sometimes what people will ask is, there will be a hardcore customer requirement where customer is not agreeing for the existing process and he wants to go with the other process. Okay. Existing sale, let's say in the sales form letter you have the validate and you want to modify the entire thing. You don't want all those things. Then there is an attribute called replaceable. There is an attribute called replaceable. And remember, this replaceable attribute, they will not give very easily. Okay, unless and until the customer is very big and the changes are mandatory for him, then they will give you the replaceable. You need to ask them. There is an attribute called replaceable. If that replaceable is set to yes, then what will happen is we will not use this next. Obviously, this init, whatever the code you write in this init in the extension, only that will work. We will set an attribute called replaceable. Okay, remember this. And see here, there is one attribute called hookable. Okay, because most of the times the people used to confuse about these attributes. Okay, replaceable is used to completely replace the system method with your own method. Attribute called hookable, this hookable will allow us to use pre-event and post-event. Okay, for hookable, okay, if you want to opt the private and protected methods, okay, let's say you want to work with private and protected methods, event handlers, then hookable should be set to true. If hookable is set to true, then only you can work with pre-events and post-events. Okay, and if hookable is set to false, then the method is not wrappable. What is wrappable? If you want to work with chain of command, okay, the attribute called wrappable should be set to true. Okay, if you have because chain of command can be used with protected and public methods. Okay, for protected and public methods, if you don't want to allow the other user to use chain of command, then we will set wrappable to false. Please remember this. Then we will set wrappable to false. Okay, whereas for private methods, you can't use anything. You can't use chain of command. Chain of command can be used for protected and public methods. Whereas hookable, if you set it to true, you can use the events. Even for private methods, If we need to use the events, we need to ask the Microsoft team to set hookable to true. Hookable is for events, wrappable is for chain of command, and replaceable is for you want to work with the chain of command and you don't want to use the next statement. Okay, that is where we will use replaceable. Okay, if the replaceable attribute is set, then whatever the code that you write now, that code will execute. Okay, there is no need of calling the next statement. And replaceable attribute, I don't know in which version they will provide for everything. Currently they have provided only in very few cases, but as per my knowledge, very soon they will provide replaceable, because customers are moving out here. The problem, because in case of AX 2012 we have wings, we can customize whatever we want, but whereas in Dynamics 365 that is not possible. There are a lot of restrictions. Due to these restrictions, to overcome these restrictions, Microsoft people came up with the replaceable. Okay, came up with the replaceable. Okay, please remember that. And I haven't tried it in this version. Okay, I haven't tried it in this version whether replaceable is working or not, because in the previous versions it used to not work. Okay, in the previous versions it used to not work. I haven't tried in this version, but there is an attribute called replaceable. Okay, what we can do is we have an attribute called replaceable, and we can replace the existing system method. One second, let me check. At that point, now what it will do is it will execute the init method only from here. It will not go into the init method of the form. Sorry, form data source. Okay, let me do a rebuild and check. Oh no, it's still building. Okay, let's wait for a second. It's building. I haven't tried this replaceable in this version, but in the previous version it used to not work. But in this version we need to check. I need to check. Okay, you can try it out whether it is working or not. Anyways, I will try in the later point in time. Okay, so this is about how to work with the forms, the form extensions. This is how we will work. And now let's say if you want to write the code in a form control, how to do that? Let me check whether I have the, okay, I got it. New item and create a class, and here I will call it as AMA form control or cast table form control underscore extension. I will call this as cast table form control underscore extension. And we will take our own field. Okay, you can use the system field as well. And here I will say extension of, and in the brackets form control str, in the brackets provide the form name, cast table, comma, and you can give the control name. It's a min threshold. No. Cast table underscore min threshold. Okay, and let me make the class final save. Okay, and now let's say you want to write the some modified method. Okay, I think it's public void. One second. Okay, so this is my form control extension. Let me do a rebuild once, and let me also add the replaceable here. 1 second, it's loading. No, okay, it should have at least one. Okay, they have not allowed here. It's not working. That attribute they need to provide us. Okay, it's not working here yet directly because it says chain of command must have and the at least one next call. Okay, okay, it's building again. Let it. We will wait for a minute. And this is my modified method, and here as well it should throw the error. Let's wait for a minute. Possibly not, because in the system level it's not there, na? Let's see.
These attributes like replaceable, we should set on the standard methods.
You can't do anything on the standard. We need to raise a request for the extensibility. Okay. In LCS, we have an extensibility request. Okay. There actually we need to raise the extensibility request. Then only you would be able to do that. This is what I'm expecting. The wrong number of arguments are specified on the method. Bracket expected. Where exactly this error is there? Form control. Okay. Here we are missing one bracket. And then let me save. I want to see one more error. And then it's gone. Okay. Let me do a rebuild. Just a second. Because here we are using the custable underscore min threshold, which is the control, which is the string edit control. And then here we wrote the modified method. In the modified method, exactly, this is what I'm expecting. Method modified cannot be used as chain of command because the return type must be Boolean instead of void. Okay. So here you need to set it to Boolean. And then here you can say next modified, save, done. Okay. Even when the method is not available. Okay, because most of the times what people used to think is method is not available, so I cannot write the chain of command. Even when the method is not available, you can write the chain of command and you can use the next call. Please remember this. Even when the method is not available, you can use the chain of command and you can write the code in it. Okay, you can write the code in it. And similarly, if you want to work with the event handler, okay, let's say if you want to work with the event handler, you can do that as well. Okay, it's throwing some error. Let's check. Not all paths return a value. Okay. Sorry. Return true. Oh, I'm simply returning true. Done. So this is how we will work with a form extensions. And again, see here, you will have the events everywhere. Now, if I go to this custable underscore Amazon, where is it? Custable.amazon. And if I go to this one, you can see here as well, you will have the events. And let's say here as well, you will have the events. Events are everywhere, on, modified, on, validated, on, validating. Okay, events are everywhere. If you want to use the events, you can use them, but only one thing that you need to remember is use events only when COC is not applicable. If you are not able to use COC, then only go with events. Then only go with events. Otherwise, don't go with events. Please remember. Okay, because events will slow down the performance, which is why we will not suggest to go with the events. Okay, because whenever it is working with one event, that event is not bind to your form. If you see here, I created some other class, separate class, and then I have used a data. And if you see here, it clearly says this is a form event handler, form str, custable, form event type initialized. So what it should do? Again, whenever you work with the form, it should get this data. It should go and check whether the form event handler is available or not. If the form event handler is available, then again it should come here. Is that right? Then again it should come here, and then it should check. It should check, and then it should execute the code, which is going to take some time. Whereas the chain of command is a wrap. The chain of command is a wrap. So what will happen? As it is wrapped, it's inside that one only. It's the integral part of that form, so it will execute immediately. Okay, it's the integral part of that form. And this is the difference between chain of command and event handlers, and which is why we go for the chain of command instead of event handlers. You need to go for event handlers only when chain of command is not possible. Okay, yeah, please remember this. I think already we are out of time. I don't want to take more time today, so now it's your time. Please let me know if you have any queries on the form extensions. Don't worry, I will explain you few things. Okay, there are few things which I have left. I will explain you again. There are few things that we need to see again. Tomorrow I will show you the sales order. We will write some piece of code for the confirmation. Okay, we will customize the existing system code, and then we will do the validation. We will do the validation. If the validation is successful, then only we will process the order. Otherwise not. Okay, tomorrow we will do one customization on the sales order, sales form letter framework. Okay, now it's your time. Please let me know if you have any queries. If there are no queries, I will end session for everyone.
That number sequence,
Number sequence, did we discuss that? Okay,
no.
okay, no problem. Tomorrow we will see that. I will show you the form class extension. Okay, in the class extension, we'll create the extension of the number sequence custable module, and then we will do that. Okay, I will show that extension as well. Okay, I thought that was discussed. Okay, any other questions?
So we can extend the reports also same way.
Reports, it's a different way. Reports, you need to create a class extension. I will show you class extensions tomorrow. Okay, reports, that's a different way. I told you only about the attributes. I will show you class extensions, how to work with them tomorrow.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thanks all for the session. Let's meet again tomorrow, same time. Thank you all. Bye.